Hey guys, Lex here. Just an FYI, I haven't gotten back to this game in a week, so I don't know where I left off, so I'm just gonna redo everything and then cut out what I don't need. So yeah. Ring. He had a ring around his neck, just like that. Where's the picture? It's hard to tell. Is that a red ring? Doesn't look like it. Like right here? It doesn't. Oh. Just present it?
Objection!
Oh shit. So the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working incognito. No, it was not like that. It was hardly a prison. It was an invitation to stay. It was only. However you describe it, there was one glaring inconsistency that remains. What inconsistency is this, Consul? I would ask the court to look closely at this photograph on the victim, Inspector Gregson. You'll see that there is no red ring visible around his neck. But that makes no sense. It was me who took the collar off the man in the morning. I saw the red bruises on his neck, just like I have. Given that the mark is still clearly visible on this witness's neck, we'd expect to see bruising on the victim, who was put in the collar more recently than Mr. DeRossi. Indeed, that is most peculiar. But what do we tell you, huh? We say this from the beginning, many times. Peppino is right. The man in the photograph he is someone different from the man we held captive that night. What? So what happened to that guy? Order. It would appear then that on the day before the incident, the man who visited the park on Lime Street posing as an incognito inspector. It's not Inspector Gregson at all.
Objection!
If that's true, however, how to explain the inspector's identification? This is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. It's inconceivable that someone could have stolen such an important item from the inspector. Gina could. The prosecution made that assertion itself. And we also know that the inspector made a note about the red-headed league in the diary for that day. Which surely means we can't divorce the two events completely. The inconsistency noted by the defense is most troubling. If it were the real Inspector Gregson whom these two red-headed gentlemen encountered. The fact that no bruising could be seen around his neck defies explanation. But equally, if they actually encountered an imposter, how did the person come to be in possession of a real inspector's identification? Does the defense have some plausible explanation, Counsel? No. The whole thing defies explanation. It is for precisely these occasions that we keep meticulous notes in our court record, Mr. Naruto. Because those are the facts, and the facts cannot lie. No, the facts can't lie. Even when they point to something so incredible, it's almost unbelievable. Well, my lord, the true identity of the person who turned up in the park for the Red-Headed League's enrollment is revealed by information in the court record, I believe. Good gracious. Very tantalizing, Mr. Naruto. So why don't you help us all to see whatever truth it is that you've apparently seen? Who exactly was this inspector that appeared before Mr. DeRosso and Mr. DeRossi? Who? Oh, an imposter. It was the... What's his name? The lady's husband, I think. Though it seems incredible, I admit, the undeniable facts point only to one thing. Since no bruising can be seen on the victim's neck, the person who these two red-headed men took prisoner that day cannot have been Inspector Gregson. In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time.
Objection!
On the contrary, I haven't finished. What? There's no bruising on the victim's neck, so the question immediately posed next is, who exactly was this man in the park on Lime Street found to be carrying Inspector Grigson's identification?
See, that's alright. We tell the same story every time. Whoever this man was, the capo dragged him from a pillar to a post with the dog collare.
Mon Dieu, Peppino, I was not so harsh as you say, huh?
So what was that false inspector, eh? Who was he?
Clearly, the defense has an idea about that. But the true identity of the man who these two imprisoned that night. I must ask the counsel for the defense to elaborate post haste. Who did the witness encounter in the park posing as Inspector Gregson? Where? Oh, there he is.
Take that!
It's really no secret. This is the identity of the imposter. Oh, really? On what grounds? Well, I say it was no secret, but that part is. Oh, shit. Okay.
Like the punishment, the capo can lead you his collare if you want.
Perhaps my learned friend needs to experience what it feels like to be dragged around the streets by the neck. I'll use my imagination, thanks.
Oh, Mr. Nardo, the red ring produced by the collar is clearly the crux of the matter here.
Yes, the bruising around the neck. I must ask the counsel for events to elaborate post haste. Him?
Oh shit, I didn't even notice his neck.
Take that!
Goodness me, isn't that? One of the witnesses who was in the stand in this very courtroom earlier today. A nameless man whose only occupation appears to be peddling hearsay to passerby.
Objection!
Objection. What on earth would a street settler be doing with a police inspector's identification papers? Witnesses, is this the man or not? What has happened to his lip? Huh?
So this is a man not from the Red-Headed League, eh? He's looking for the Twisted Lip League, no?
Perhaps rather than making such a rash claim next time, you should bite your lip instead. Seems improbable, yes, but one undeniable fact remains during his testimony earlier. I noted something around that man's neck, a red ring of bruising.
Eh?
What? The defense demands that Mr. Gossip be brought back to the stand. Oh, damn. Order, bailiff. Bring the aforementioned witness back into the courtroom immediately. Completely forgot about him. Yeah, I did notice that. Well, I never. An undeniable ring of bruising indeed, and identical to that of the witness beside him. Now what's going on here, eh? I've always had this to me. It's the birthmark, isn't it? Birthmark, you say? But the picture had red lines on it. Yeah. Birthmark, you say? I assume the reason you've been recalled to the stand has been explained to you. Something about the inspector again. But I'm telling you, no, you got it all wrong as usual. You're denying all knowledge of it? Well, of course I am. Are you trying to kill me with all this nonsense, eh? Well, at least you'll have more stories to peddle back on Fresno Street, won't you? Now, we're going to need you to testify again. And you, Mr. DeRosa and Mr. DeRossi, I'm sure you'll cooperate, won't you? Do we have any choice?
We are in big trouble, eh, capo?
That's quite enough dilatory chatter. Proceed with the testimony. Witness testimony. The inspector and the identification revisited. The man who claimed to be an inspector that day was definitely not this man.
It's right, see. You think he would forget these grand leaps, huh?
I'd never leave Fresno Street, alright. I've no interest in any Reddit league. I'm all alone in the world, me. I've no kinfolk or nothing. Why would I be involved in something like that? Just look at me, eh? Does it look like I could carry a disguise with a face like this? Wait a minute. It would certainly appear that we have a wrong man. Wait a minute. Doesn't he have the same hair as this guy? Oh, but they don't have the same eyes. Maybe he's his brother. It would certainly appear that we have the wrong man. What have I been telling you, huh? There was no need for this pointless testimony. Ah. That's right, I'm the simple peddler, remember? Fresno Street's all I know. How would I have come by a police inspector identification book, eh? I don't know why I keep giving him that accent now. Well, yes, that's hard to explain, but... Brief for cross-examination as in counsel. Very brief. Isn't there anyone in this courtroom who thinks I might be onto something?
I stand steadfast at your side as always, Mr. Naruto.
Inspector and identification revisited. Man.
Hold it!
So you say, but how can you be quite so certain? There is no need to hurt your hands on the text, monsieur. Surely the reason is obvious, no? Because I have never before seen lips like this. Nevertheless, there's a clear red mark around Mr. Gossip's neck. It looks very much like that left behind on the neck of your colleague by your prized collar. Monsieur, is your word silence like you are trying to wring my neck?
It does look very much like my neck, though, eh?
No, this is a birthmark, lad. The biggest lips in London, and neck to die for. Aye, they broke the mold when they made me. But the first time in my life, I feel lucky to have been born with that there. And I thought being Japanese made you stand out in London. So you maintain you've never seen this man before? Oui, c'est ça. I swear on the flames of my hair. So fierce pride has outgrown the frustration with your hair now, has it?
Hold it!
Well, yes, I don't imagine I'll forget those lips in a hurry either.
That is what I'm saying. For some reason it makes me want to eat. How did Fabian call it? An eclair. You know, I've never seen the hair as black as yours before either.
Likewise, I've never seen red hair like yours until I came to Britain.
See, maybe it's a nationality trait, eh? Maybe all the people from this man's country have the grand lips.
No, lad, I was born right here on Fresno Street, and I never left.
Uffa, there is a problem, see.
You definitely didn't go to the park on Lime Street that day, Mr. Gossip. Now, how many times do you want me to say it, eh? Never leave Fresno Street.
Hold it!
So, you'd heard of the Redhead League, had you? You don't get a name like Gossip for nothing, eh? My business to know what's going off in town. I sold a tasty tidbit to a fair few redheads that came past me. Just between us, I even got sandwiched to cuff up for it.
Well, he does have a very red nose, if that counts.
Who knows? But as you could see, my own hair's not got a hint of red in it. In any case, Fresno Street's my patch. Don't catch me starting off to some other part of town. Not likely. No, sir, not likely.
Excuse me!
Mr. DeRosso. We? Can I help you? Did Mr. Gossip's words just now lead you to remember something relevant, perhaps? It was the other day when I was looking for a place near the park. A small house or something. To be the headquarters of your red-headed league, yes. I visited an housing agent on Lime Street and there I saw him. This man was paying money to the agent. What? Mr. Gossip with a housing agent. He had some kind of contract in his hand and they were clearly discussing terms. But no, you're mistaken, chum. I've never left Fresno Street, like I said before. Mistaking me for someone else, someone with the same face, or same hair.
Oh no, the capo is right. I remember that too. He was paying the man with the banknotes.
With notes? Like I said, that wasn't me.
I was curious why this man with the dirty clothes had so much money. So I looked at the name on the papers.
And what name was written? Mr. Gossip?
No, this man, he lies. He tells you that he has no name. But in fact, he has a name. Is Hugh Boone. It's better than Mr. Gossip, I think. See?
Boone? Uh-oh. I'm a peddler of tidbits of information, like I said, on Fresno Street, and that's that. I don't much like folk talking about my personal life. What's her life? What's her last name? His name was Hugh Boone. Oh, Daily Vigil. Who's Boone then? Oh, that's gonna drive me crazy. I don't know who Hugh Boone. I guess check my notes. I don't know. I don't remember who Hugh Boone is, even though I recognize that name. I don't like folk talking about my personal life. Indeed. It's not the intention of the court to invade the privacy of witnesses. Very well, I shall respect your wishes, sire. The aforementioned name shall be retracted from all court records of this trial, assuming no objection.
Objection!
Yes, objection. Sorry, my lord, but the defense does object. Because the name you just mentioned has a very deep significance to this case.
Good gracious, do you similarly object, Prosecutor Sogi?
As it so happens, my lord, that particular name has already been mentioned during today's proceedings.
Well, I'd never. In what capacity?
Hugh Boone, the name of the leaseholder of the room.
Oh yeah, now I remember. Let me put this very simply. The victim's body was discovered in your rented room. Oh yeah. I suggest, sir, you start talking.
Well, alright. Suppose that might be the case, eh?
So your real name is Hugh Boone.
Well, just between us, I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but there's no finer peddler of tidbits in town. So I happen to be able to afford a grubby little room in a fallen down backstreet townhouse.
You do?
Once every 6 months I go pay the rent to the agent at Lime Street. Oh yeah, I remember now. There were 2 vulgar redheads in there last time.
Hey, if you know this folder is not me.
Think again, Peppino.
Why didn't you bring this up before?
It's like I told you already. I don't like talking about my personal life. I'm a tidbit peddler as far as everyone else is concerned. No fuss.
You will update your testimony to include the most surprising revelation, Mr. Boone.
If I must.
So the leaseholder Scotlander has been looking for since the body was discovered has been here under our noses all along.
I rent the room where the fellow was found, is true. What difference it makes?
Then why is there a picture of her? I'm gonna press and then...
Hold it!
So, you live in that room presumably, do you?
No, I don't live there. What do you think? No bed in there, just a desk.
Then, why would you want to rent it?
Well, I don't think I should have to say, really.
Then how about a notice board in there, which was covered from top to bottom in confidential documents only the police should have access to.
No, that board's not mine. Inspector must have brought it along. It's the only other bits and bobs that belong to me. The desk, the chair, and that.
People don't generally carry enormous notice boards around with them. The real question is, why was Inspector Gregson killed in there in your room?
Well, obviously, I have not the faintest idea. I mean, it's causing me no end of bother, to be honest.
Seems to me that Mr. Gossip, sorry Mr. Boone, would rather as little is known about his room as possible for some reason.
Yes, it does come across that way. More importantly, knowing that the scene of the crime is actually his room completely changes things. In particular, there's one part of his testimony that's really bothering me right now. That's how I'm finally going to undo this man. Yeah, the picture.
I'm alone in this world. I've no kinfolk or nothing. Would I be involved in something?
Oh, wait a minute. Perfect timing.
Objection!
If you have no kinfolk, as you put it, explain why it is that among the sparse furnishings, we found this photograph in your room. Presume as you've been renting the room, that this photograph belongs to you, does it not?
Well.
Mr. Boone, drop the pretense. Tell the court exactly who you really are.
I don't know what you mean. I'm a peddler. I keep telling you so. You really don't need to bother with me. Please, just leave it alone.
As the man says, leave it alone. Whatever the truth is about this man's life, it has no bearing on this case. Because it's simply not impossible that he impersonated Inspector Gregson.
Objection!
How could you be so sure? Just look at the man. No amount of disguise could ever hide those unmissable features.
Objection!
But what if you were to look at this the other way around? What do you mean?
Yes, counsel. What do you mean?
Well, there's no denying that Mr. Boone's lips is very prominent indeed. But consider the possibility that his prominent lips itself is part of an elaborate disguise. Then hiding the prominent feature, in other words, revealing his true face, would make an utterly impregnable disguise. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Hugh Boone?
Good witness. Are you still hiding the truth from this court?
If that's a disguise, then underneath it, his true identity must be...
Yes, that's right. Only one person he could really be. My lord, the defense believes he can reveal Mr. Boone's true identity to the court.
No, please, no.
Very well then, counsel. What is the true identity of this peddler who goes simply by the name of Gossip on the street? Now I put Daily in there. Your real name is actually Mr. Vigil, isn't it? Daily Vigil.
I don't recall that name, counsel. Who is Mr. Vigil?
It's a name I encountered yesterday, my lord. It has to do with a certain client of Mr. Herlock Sholmes. A young gentleman came to see the detective, asking him to locate her missing husband. The woman in this photograph, in fact. That's Mrs. Vigil. What? From what I understand, you haven't returned home since the night before the inspector was found dead. But of course, on that night, you're being held captive by the two red-headed league men. And last night you were put up by the prosecution service in preparation for testifying in this trial. Because we've been led to believe that you, Miss Venus, and Mr. Sandwich were all homeless. Being important witnesses in this case, we needed to know where we could find you, of course. And that explains why you've not only been unable to return home, but also unable to contact your wife. She's been beside herself with worry, waiting for you at the vigil residence.
Now, you hold on a minute. I don't have the first idea.
What I'm talking about, really? It's a simple enough matter to confirm my suspicions. All I have to do is pull off that disguise.
No, please.
Bailiff, bring soap, sponge, and a washbowl at once. Mr. DeRosa and Mr. DeRossi, will you restrain the witness? What? Oh.
Oui, my lord.
See, my lord.
No, stop! Get off!
Why would you have the witnesses restrain him? That's funny. Oh?
What?
Oh. Well, now seeing your true features, I presume. Well, we changed clothes too. Lift your head, sir, so the court can see your face. Would appear that the defense of the counsel's assertion was entirely correct. This has been a very elaborate deception. So, witnesses, tell the court, have you seen this man before?
I don't believe it, but...
See, there's no question. This is the inspector we saw in the park.
Extraordinary. On the day of the Red-Headed League enrollment, a man claiming to be Inspector Gregson who appeared before Mr. DeRosa and Mr. DeRossi in the park. It was you disguised as the inspector, or rather, it was you posing as the inspector in no disguise at all. Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as the chief warder at Barclay Prison. The chief warder? Then your career had promise. Why, you would quite possibly have become the future governor of the prison. What on earth have you been doing peddling tittle-tattle on Fresno Street? Well, it's been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at the prison. 10 years.
I'm really dreadfully sorry about all this. Yes, it's true. I am Daily Vigil.
And you were the chief warder at Barclay Prison 10 years ago. So where did Mr. Hugh Boone come from?
Boone is the other me. It's a name I invented.
Well, evidently there's a great deal under the surface here.
I'll explain everything. I'll tell you just how wretched my life has become. As you say, it was 10 years ago now that my employment at Barclay's chief warder came to an end. Having left the prison service, I searched for some new occupation by which to earn a wage. But times were hard on me, and I found no suitable engagements at all. In desperation one day, I turned my hand at selling wares on Fresno Street.
But your wife appears to know nothing of this. She still maintains that you are the chief warder at Barclay Prison.
I was utterly determined that my wife should not know of my feelings, which is why I never told her. I opened an account in the bank under the name Hugh Boone, and went to the cheapest room I could find on Fresno Street.
The scene of the crime we're investigating.
Yes, that's right. A place from which I could emerge every morning at 8 as a squalid predator, and transform myself back every evening at 5 into a well-dressed man about town before returning home. That quickly became my daily routine.
I was puzzled by the lack of furniture in the room. But that explains it. But why on earth didn't you just tell us this in the first place?
I have a wife, sir.
and 2 sons, and without wishing to sound self-conceited, they regard me with some pride. I couldn't bring myself to disappoint them. So instead you decided to conceal your occupation from them. Yes. I've made such a terrible mess of everything. Still, one thing doesn't add up. No matter how many tidbits of information you could sell to passing gentlemen, even at 6 pence apiece. You couldn't hope to match the salary you must have commanded as chief warder at the prison. Very true. You have kept your family in comfort despite 10 years of somewhat misbegotten employment. Oh, his neck. That was all thanks to Inspector Gregson. What? Inspector Gregson? What on earth? It was some years after I had invented Boone and begun my other life as a street seller. He, the inspector that is, recognized me one day. Do you mean to say the victim was an acquaintance of yours? I knew him from my time working in the prison. When he saw what I'd become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family. And from that day forward he visited me on Fresno Street with an increasing regularity. Then one day, asked me if I could carry out a secret assignment for him. Secret? What was it? Oh, a secret? I was to impersonate the inspector. Whoa. What? Impersonate him? Always met at that little room so the inspector could brief me. Visit Orky's tomorrow and take a statement from the proprietors. It was always something along those lines. Surveillance work, interviewing people. On those occasions, he would lend me his identification so people would believe who I was. My instructions were to make an impression, let people know that Inspector Gregson had been at work. What? And for those services, he compensated me financially. Scotland Yard Inspector willingly relinquished his identification into your care with intent to deceive. That, as I'm sure I need to point out, is a very serious criminal offense. But why? What was the point of you impersonating him? I truthfully do not know. All I can say is that Inspector warned me on numerous occasions. Now remember, Vigil, I need your solemn word. You don't blab about this to anyone, alright? Ever. Even if, well, if I end up a croaker. She did. In time, he started to bring papers with him to the room as well. It became something of a second office for him. So, in fact, the person who declared himself to be Inspector Gregson at the park on Lime Street was really... Yes, it was me, acting on his inspector's orders. As usual, I removed my Boone disguise, and then went as instructed to the park, armed with the inspector's identification book. It never occurred to me that the bruise on my neck might give me away. Was Inspector Gregson the Reaper? Well, it would seem this confession completely destroys the defense's case. Huh? Explain yourself, Prosecutor and Sogi. My learned friend's assertion was as follows. The victim was killed at another location on the day before his corpse was discovered, at the hands of these 2 red-headed League men when they imprisoned the inspector. But no, that can't be. After all, it wasn't the inspector who went to the park that day, it was me. Oh goodness. Finally, we have clarity. We had nothing to do with the murder of the inspector. And merci, Monsieur de la Defense, for proving it. What? Order. Indeed, it would appear that we have reached a de facto conclusion of sorts. These witnesses had no involvement in the murder of the victim, as proven, somewhat ironically, by the defense. I hereby call an end to the cross-examination. Guilty.
Hold it!
Is that Boone? Oh, what's Kazuma? Pardon me, my lord, but with your permission, I would like to pose one further question to the witness. Kazuma? What question, counsel? Concerns the events of 10 years ago. I believe you would have been present at the very significant execution that was carried out at the time.
10 years ago?
Oh, your execution of Professor Kenshin Asogi. I want to know exactly what your involvement was. Did you kill my dad? Oh, answer me, man.
One moment, Consul. Is this related to the current case?
Yeah, I guess. Naturally. It is the prosecution's belief that this case and events of 10 years ago are inextricably linked.
Does the defense concur, counsel?
Yeah?
Kazuma, you're not yourself. You're not as calm and collected as usual.
Poor Kazuma-sama. No wonder he's acting this way. Mr. Vigil's memories of what happened 10 years ago would tell the tale of Kenshin Asogi's last moments. His own father.
I know, I do understand that, but even so, Kazu Prosecutor Asogi,
You genuinely believe that this question requires an answer in order to learn the truth behind Inspector Gregson's death?
I need you to trust me, please.
No. Very well. Then the defense has no objection.
I say, in that case, you will answer the question, witness.
The truth is, I remember very little of that time.
You've forgotten?
I'm sorry to say, yes. As I said, I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. But for some peculiar reason, my memory of the events leading up to that moment is extremely hazy.
Does that not strike you as strange, Mr. Naruto?
Sorry?
Well, 10 years is a long time. To have forgotten the reason why he left such an important job?
Yes, you're right. And not only that, Mr. Vigil's claim contradicts what we already know. The human spirit is a fragile thing. It's broken all too easily. Which is why we have a tendency to wrap it up for our protection.
Sorry? The human spirit? I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean.
When we experience pain and suffering that we feel unable to bear, we block it out, obliterate it from our memories, seal it away. But it never truly leaves us. If the seal is broken, the memories resurface. And when they do, the fragile spirit may finally be crushed.
But I really don't.
Kazuma-sama.
But if it must be crushed, then so be it, because the truth will not stay buried. It's coming out one way or the other.
Right. Now I understand. It's clear what his intentions are. You see, he means to expose the truth at any cost. Perhaps if I pointed out the contradiction in what Mr. Vigil claimed earlier, it might cause some crucial memories to return to him. But should I? Should I present the evidence or not?
Nah.
Okay. I have no idea how this is going to go. But this is a court of law, and I have a duty to pursue the truth. Mr. Vigil, I'd like you to look at this. Evidence that clearly contradicts your version of the events.
Or is it? Aha.
Take that!
Just a few moments ago, you made the following statement. I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. Ah, well, yes. In other words, you claim to have left the post chief warder of your own volition. Well, yes, of course. Why? Tell me. Do you remember seeing this document before? No, I don't. This is a dismissal notice ordering the immediate termination of a prison staff member's employment. A dismissal notice. And the name on that notice, it's yours, Mr. Vigil.
What? What? It's mine?
So you didn't resign from the prison service at all. For some reason, you were dismissed as chief warder from Barclay. No, there's been some mistake. I'm sure I tendered my resignation. This dismissal notice is nonsense. Isn't it? Uh-oh. If you were forcibly dismissed, there must have been a good reason. Clearly, you did something. Mr. Vigil, time to break the seal and have you remember. According to the few remaining records, the final execution that you supervised was on the 17th of June, 10 years ago. And on that day, something very serious took place at Barclay Prison.
The 17th of June.
Was that the professor's execution?
Professor...
As you were the chief warder at the time, it stands to reason that you would have been present throughout the proceedings.
It does sound familiar.
And yet, that execution never took place. The convict, ostensibly executed earlier that day, later re-emerged from his grave.
The convict came back to life.
In the cemetery in the middle of the night, there was a witness.
However, the witness claims that a moment after he saw the convict clambering out of his grave, a gunshot rang out from over his shoulder. That bullet pierced the professor's chest, killing him instantly. Those may have been the professor's actual last moments.
Yes. Seeing as you were in charge of overseeing executions at the time, you must know the truth about what really happened. It's in your head, somewhere deep down. Well, Chief Warder Daily Vigil, I know there are memories in your head that can explain what happened on the 17th of June 10 years ago. Now it's time for you to drag them up. Mr. Vigil?
Yes, the whole prison. It was complete chaos. The prisoner escaped. He was killed in the cemetery. The shocking news ripped through Barclay like a hurricane.
What? Order. Do you mean to say, Mr. Vigil, that your memories of the time have returned?
I heard it's like some floodgates have been opened. The images, the screams.
Oh my goodness.
The papers. There were reports, articles about a man who'd seen a ghost.
Yes, Enoch Drebber.
But surely those reports were exaggerated.
Oh, there were traces at the scene.
Traces of what?
In low gauge cemetery at plot number 139. Blood. Lots of blood. That's where the man was buried, of course. Obviously something terrible had happened there.
The depths of conspiracy and depravity from which this tale is emerging are quite staggering.
I've reviewed the police records from that time extensively. A thorough investigation was concluded by Scotland Yard to ascertain how the convict managed to escape in the first place. And the conclusion reached by the investigation team was that a member of the prison staff must have been involved.
Are you suggesting that the prison warder better demands bid for freedom?
Oh, yes, and I was suspected of doing it. Of using that mass murder's execution as a way to help him escape.
You did what?
I remember now. The horror of it all is coming back to me. Is he spinning faster? One evening, a few days after the execution, some detectives came into the prison. I was called to the governor's office at the top of the watchtower.
I'm sorry, dearie. This is serious business. I cannot help you now. As chief warder, you are responsible for overseeing the execution of Hoy. Well, it seems the fellow at Scotland Yard wanted to have a few words about you about it. You better pay for your things, laddie. You're to attend in person.
As soon as he told me that, my mind just went completely blank. And the next thing I knew, the professor, the most hated killer in our country's history. Let him escape and finished my life. It's over.
Order, bailiff, fetch a doctor at once.
No.
Court is adjourned for today with immediate effect.
So, with Mr. Vigil's collapse, proceedings came to an abrupt end for the day, once again overshadowed by the legacy of that notorious killer, appearing like a cursed ghost ship on a foggy ocean. Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Vigil, Kazuma, and Gregson. All of them bound by invisible chains anchored to the same wreckage in the murky depths of the past. But the miraculous light that had been trying to cut through the gloom and shine on those tragic events was playing on the edges of the truth at last.
Thanks, Naruhodo. We'll end the episode here, and then next time we'll continue the trial. Thanks for watching. See ya. Bye.